give you a bit of background on this slideshow is that it was originally written for strangers. Because I would do annual seminars, but I left a lot of stuff in here, but added a little more, trying to customize it for agents, but because I don't know what you don't know, like do you know what I mean? So right. So some things might feel like, oh my God, this is stupid. I already know this. So those are the ones for the people that were in the seminar. Just started, yeah. Well, you know what's funny is that
after being in houses. Right?
I don't know. Sometimes I come home and he moves something. I'm like, I don't know why you did that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Preparing a house for sale is not staging, it's home merchandising. And I don't know why the industry hasn't shifted so that it's called home merchandising, because home staging is misleading because you're giving a lot more advice in furniture placement, right? It's funny because my new assistant is like a merchandiser too. Awesome. Like a professional merchandiser. That's cool. Anyway.
There, but I think so. Can't see it up there.
I see it here. Oh, okay, so I sit down here. Okay. Okay. All right. Yep.
Okay.
I think. A sec. Yeah. Okay. So I just inserted this just to get the conversation going about when I approach a homeowner. The slideshow is set up for people that want to maximize how much money they can get out of the sale of their home. So, but there are some times where making suggestions just doesn't apply. Like the product itself, the house, the property, depending on where it's located, the age, and all of those other things that go into the pricing strategy, it might just work out better for them if they left well enough alone. Because increasingly, the younger buyers are looking for more affordability than they are move-in ready. For the longest time, and why staging blew up as fast as it did, I brought it here to Nova Scotia in 2006, and I spent most of my time and energy educating people what the hell home staging was. But that's when it was really, really needed, right? And HGTV was giving everybody the expectations that's what they're going to experience when they walk into a house, right? So it was really imperative that staging was done. But now, staging kind of has a different role. And like I was saying, it's more or less home merchandising. And so some of the recommendations that are in the following slides are for people that want to invest in something that they're leaving, right? Because today's marketplace, everything is selling, right?
I know. I just did a deal with my brother-in-law, sister, on their first home, and passed up on some home because there wasn't some.
Right.
They wanted a look at
yes.
They needed paint that replaced or replaced structure.
Yeah. Can you guys hear that question? Yeah.
And they're exactly
Why don't you guys come sit over here? I make this all inclusive. Thank you. Really good conversations. You know what, this is the kind of content where you learn a lot from the conversations that happen during. Do you know what I mean?
One of the ones that you're encouraging conversation.
Yes, I would encourage conversation because a lot of learning happens in these little conversations, you know what I mean? But sharing everybody's experiences, I find that's when I get a lot of, that's why I go to classes, because I learn from not just the class itself, but the stories, right? Can you talk? Can you guys hear? Can you hear anybody else other than me? Talk.
Hello.
Do you need the mic right beside people, or can you hear us from more a few feet away?
Can you guys hear us? Are you there? Maybe everybody left. Everybody on mute? Okay, we'll just pause it. So yes, so a lot of these, I call the products, inventory, houses and properties, I call them products because to me, they are a product on the shelf to be marketed, right? And that's what I try to convey to clients. So this seminar is set up for people who are motivated to maximize how much they can get for their home. Even though, yes, it'll sell tomorrow, and yes, it'll probably get offers, but you can really take advantage of that if you do certain things, right?
Right.
Sure. So what I usually do to start the conversation with clients is to, first of all, get them to detach their emotions from the house. And that is exceptionally hard for people that have been in their homes for like 25, 40 years. There's still a lot of those because those are the boomers that are moving out and giving the product to the next generation, right? And so these are the conversations to have with them. And that's why you have to be well aware of how to advise. Is it a better opportunity for them to just sell it as is?
Right.
Or is it, if they do all this work, will it outprice them? Will they get the money back? Is it worth it? Right? So those are, but detaching their emotions is first and foremost, just because it's just easier for them to move forward as well. Right? I've worked with so many seniors, it's a 2-year process. Right from the time I meet them to the point they're ready to put it on the market, it's 2 years.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. And a lot of that time is trying to get them to detach from the house and move on with their next stage of life. Right? It's not just seniors either. I mean, I myself need a little boost every now and again to get the hell out of the place that I'm at where I'm not happy. Just been there. So anyway, it doesn't matter. It's also the next step I usually take with clients is to get them to understand target marketing and how the factors that go into not just the pricing strategy, but also the strategy on how to merchandise the house for the marketplace. And I don't know if you guys heard me before, but it's not just about staging, it's about advising on many updates. So anyways, just getting in the headspace of the client and getting them on board is usually the hard part. So yeah, it's all about target marketing and getting them to understand that you're putting the products together to be most appealing to the type of people that would, like a location will attract certain target market versus others. So, so to maximize earning potential, first thing to do is if you, as an agent, don't want to walk through the house and look at it like from a buyer's point of view, because you will see all the little details that a buyer will see, but a homeowner won't see them because they've been living with them for so long. So they either have to get a sister who's really like nasty like mine, who will walk out and like tell you every little detail about your house, or you can get a, hire a professional to go in and write a to-do list of all the things that a buyer will see. And that's you know, seriously, walk through our houses every day and we don't notice half the stuff that buyers will pick up on. And so if they don't address those things, it does give the impression that a house is not well cared for. And so if you don't love your home, they won't love your home. And so that usually resonates with a lot of people. There are some improvements that you can suggest that actually you will get 100% of your money back. Actually, there was a study done not long ago, and I didn't put up the graph because it's boring stats. But for example, a new roof will yield, it's actually 109% return on investment. You actually make a little extra money by fixing and making, like putting on a new roof, right? Whereas, you know, a pool costs you 25 grand and you might get 5 or nothing. Do you know what I mean? So there's just certain things that are worth doing depending on the target market for that product, right? So putting in a pool where there's like young kids, it's not going to be a selling feature for a family. So if you're selling a house in a family neighborhood, you know, it's sometimes if there's an existing pool there and it's in disrepair, it would be beneficial for them to get it taken out because it could be a roadblock for somebody wanting to put in an offer, right? So that's the kind of thing. So yeah, if time and money and energy is limited, I would recommend focusing on updating the curb appeal, entrance, kitchen, living room, master bedroom, and master bathroom, and the backyard living. The master bedroom and bathroom are really important because that's where the mortgage payer is going to be spending their time, and if they feel special there, then you're really affecting their decision making. So just to show the differences of a third party. So the top picture there is of the home, you know, just the home itself, and then staged by homeowner versus a third party going in. And just a completely objective eye and the difference that it makes. So it's either you that makes all these recommendations, which can be a difficult conversation, but yeah, those are all like that's what I mean. It's not just staging, it's home merchandising, right? So there's tweaking a few things. But as you can see too, is that it changes how it views in a photo, like because photos are your first impression. So this is, I already talked a lot about target marketing, and the reason why it's really important is because there are different products for different people in different stages of life and lifestyles. So getting to know, placing that house on the marketplace and how is it going to be positioned, right? So I talked to clients about, you know, the majority of sellers are older, the majority of buyers are younger, and there's a huge gap there of lifestyle. So yeah, those things need to be addressed. I'm just going through all these things so that you understand some of the recommendations that follow, okay? So the psychology behind staging or home merchandising. People are often influenced by comfort, adoration, status, and excitement. And so all of these things go into influencing how a person makes a decision. And so successful staging capitalizes on these feelings to encourage people to feel like they want that house. So that's the whole idea behind it all. Secrets. Of course, for us, it's not a secret. The photos are your first impression. But seriously, this is what I just use as an example to show people that, first of all, agents, you don't have to show all photos of every room. If they're not showing ideally, don't put them online, because this photo shows that the ashtray tells a story. It says that the house could smell like smoke. The bug spray, of course, there's bugs. Bicycle on a deck, there's not enough storage space. And look how close the house is, and there's no privacy. So that one photo amongst 20 really nice ones could like kill anybody's interest, right? Second impression is your curb appeal. Often more times than not, a client, hi.
That's very cool.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. Yeah, so the second impression, curb appeal, people will drive by a house before they will call their agent to go view. But with today's marketplace, maybe that's not the case at all, right? Because you're just like, gotta go see this house now, right? But still, this is your first impression, and you have to set it up nicely. So in this case, the front door should always be like a focal point. When you drive up to in the driveway or just up the street, your eye should directly go to a front door. That's your, well, like immediately, that should be your first impression. And paint was used to create balance and uniformity in the design. And yeah, just create a warm welcome at the doorway. Just a few little tweaks makes a huge difference. I mean, yeah, the color was updated a bit and it's sunny out, but yeah,
Not snow.
it's not snowing. That's the point, right? Yeah.
White.
But he's-
And, first the color. So, like,
yeah, exactly. And look, I mean, the green on green just looks, I don't know, dark and
see what
dingy.
just happened.
Yeah, big difference. Just, yeah, keeping the blinds open when you take photos makes a huge difference. Or if they're all white curtains, close them all so that the windows become a part of the overall house design, right? They can either disappear like from the top one, or they can become a feature. Pop, right? So it just makes it prettier so that people want to come and view. So the entrance, front entrance, very first important third impression, of course. We all know as agents that when you're opening up the front door, that if that door handle sticks or is wiggling or hard to open, it's setting up a bad taste experience. Bad taste in your mouth. I don't know why I use that. It's just, you know, sets up an expectation. And so this is where it's really, really important that everything be ideal, because good first impression at this point in time will set up an attitude. And buyers will look at all the positive things. They have a really great first impression, or they will look and at all the negative things and tear it apart as they're walking through the house. If they have a you know, at this point in time that they're not wowed. It's important to wow people here. The three most important senses to address, of course, is your touch. Don't have anything sticky, like, right?
So
Nothing sells better than clean. The smell of clean, like your senses of smell, touch, and just the overall emotional impact. So when you're standing at the front entrance, take a look at all the sight lines and use those as opportunities to create a wow, right? So if you're in the rooms, try and manipulate the furnishings or, you know, everything so that, you know, your accessories are placed in places where it's a part of the sight line, and create an overall like story, if you will. If you've got 4 sight lines when you walk through the door, then each room should have something in place that all works together from the front door. You know what I mean? So it's just part of that wow. Does anybody on Zoom that have any questions? Is anybody left?
From
Oh, there's. Okay. Oh, can I unmute? Oh, all good? Okay. Do you have any questions?
They can unmute themselves too.
Oh, you can unmute yourselves. Okay.
Yeah.
That's,
like I'm sure that sticky Deadbolt that you like buffoon with your buyers when you
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
the one key will not unlock the house till finally you get it. Like,
Yeah.
That's just instantly, you're moving.
Annoying.
Like you're going in total negative mindset. Just picking it apart.
What about when the key breaks off?
Haven't had that happen.
That's a fun one.
Well, it's not just setting up that
Like,
first,
oops.
yeah.
Guess we're not going in today.
But that can be seen as a sign. People look at signs. Well, this is not meant to be.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they'll go
But
through
people
what they-
do take, like, as soon as, if it's really tricky, they're, well, I don't want to have to deal with that every day. First thing I'm going to do is change a lock. So already you're thinking about the negative things instead of the positive things
Exactly.
going into it.
Right.
And it's not what you, as the seller, that's not what you want people.
No.
So it's the agent and the buyer that are already on the negative trail.
So up until including this point in time, think of it like you're dating. It's just like dating. You put out your best foot forward and you try and impress, and your date will look at all the positive aspects of your personality. And then later on, when you start showing the negative, they can overlook it because they've already fallen in love. Right? So it's easier to overlook negatives when you've already
Well,
fallen
this
in
is
love.
as good as it's going to get.
Right? Yes. So this is it right here. And so the rest of it is either going to support a first impression or it's going to detract. And by the way, the basement is the last place you want to put any energy, even if it's, the second family room or whatever. The house is already sold or not sold by the time they get there. I don't think I pressed that here, but anyway. So as part of the first impression, area rugs, a lot of people love their area rugs in front entrances. But unless there is a rug there that's big enough for everybody to fit on, and by the way, prepare for 4 at coming in the house at all times. And if they are experiencing, it's just natural for people to want to be polite, keep on the mat. So if you're everybody's struggling to take off their shoes while they're like all trying to stay on the mat, it gives you this experience like there's not enough space, right?
Yeah.
So either have the mat so big or not at all.
But even if it's so big, it's so smaller. Because
Well,
it can overpower the room. Right? It can overpower the space rather than just space feeling bigger.
but it's always good to get a rug that's the same color as the floor,
Yeah.
right? So then it doesn't become part of the decor. It
Yeah.
just falls into the background, right?
Yeah.
And those are for rainy or winter days, but otherwise, just take them out. They're not part of I guess in the 70s, area rugs were part of the decor. It's not about that. You're selling a house, not the decor. We're talking about the psychology here and not decorating, right?
Yeah.
First class we did, we talked about the difference between decorating and staging, right? And living in your house. I mean, yeah, you do have to consider a client living in their house, but you also have to get them to buy into changing things around so that addressing psychology behind. So you don't want people struggling when they first walk in the door. Stay on the rug. And just keep it clear. I mean, it does look kind of empty. Doesn't feel as homey as some people think. More stuff makes things feel more homey. Yeah, this is about getting people to imagine their own things in the place, not yours. So highlighting features, furnitures and accessories are really awesome at they're attracting attention to the special features of a house, because that's what you're selling. In this case is a fireplace. If furniture is not arranged, you're not highlighting the actual feature that's going with the house, right? That's what was happening here, is that the fireplace was used, but the furnishings around it was to highlight the fireplace. But it's also a good way to detract attention away from negatives, right? So you can manipulate people how they walk through a house by furniture placement. You can also make it so that it's less awkward for walking through a room by having easy traffic flow, right? So that you're not, you're looking at the house and not worried about bumping into things. So that's why you should always consider these things when you're like looking at a room. And hopefully the client at this point is open to any suggestions. If you're walking into the room and the sofa's right across the doorway and you're walking into what feels like a wall, that's a negative. And it's also impeding traffic flow. So that should be moved, right? I've used red accessories to manipulate people in a house to turn left versus right. Natural reaction is to turn right in a house. You'll notice now that when you go into a house now, you'll start saying, oh, I'm going to the right, right? But if there's like, I don't know, something ugly over there or something, you want people to go left. Place accessories in the room that attract your attention to go in that direction. So, oh, this looks interesting. Then you just move, right? You're going in that direction. So that's why, like, you use those things to manipulate. So visually, when you walk into a room, you should know exactly what it's for upon entry. If a bedroom is made into an office, you have to turn it back into a bedroom, because believe it or not, even though it's listed as a 3-bedroom and it's actually set up like a 2-bedroom and an office, it will be remembered as a 2-bedroom house. It really is, it's, when there's looking at like 20 houses, this is how things are, right, based on what you see. So in this case too, I'll also talk about visual weight and furnishings. This one here has been placed so that, by the way, these are examples that I used from when I had my own business, staging business, and staging using clients' items. So just taking what's in the house and moving things around will make a massive impact. In this case, you can see like the room is balanced, but obviously, the dark furniture is really playing a huge part on. You ever walk into a room and you're just like, I don't know, this just doesn't feel right. Can't really explain it. It's usually visual weight. When you have something that's, really tall on one end, on one side of the room and really short on the other end, and the furniture's light on one side and dark on the other, it's just unbalanced. It just feels wrong.
Well, I mean, first photo, I know if I'm showing that home, we're basically looking at it from the doorway, then carrying on.
Yeah.
Whereas the second one, we're probably going in, having a short combo in there at least, something.
Well, this here, it's a family room.
Yeah.
For the other one, like literally a rec room.
Literally, you just be like, oh, and this is where they put everything.
Yeah, this is a storage dumping ground. So long, skinny rooms. This example is along the huge, narrow room. And so splitting it up into 2 functions is what created 2 conversation areas, well, a reading area and highlighting the fireplace. But over on the other side, rearranged things so that, well, in this particular house, the windows were the feature because the lake was just amazing. The view was just amazing. So what I did with this particular house is use the lake view as the focal point of the whole house. So there's some other examples that come from this house that are rearranged to highlight the view and not necessarily just another bedroom, right? So, and that's what was going on here, is the traffic flow. See, I don't know how to explain this. When walking into this room, see the top left picture there where the pink chair is? You actually walked into the room from behind there. And so the way that the furniture was placed was so that it was easy walking towards the door that took you out to the deck. right? So that's how the staging of the furniture played a huge part in the whole experience of viewing this house, right? Is just leaving things so that you can easily find a way to the biggest feature of the whole house. So a lot of times you'll find angled fireplaces, you just don't know how to arrange. There's three different, designers will tell you there's like three different ways to arrange furniture around an angled fireplace. But when staging and walking into a room, this is the arrangement that usually is most effective. The more floor space you see, or wall space you see, the bigger the room feels.
So if you have a huge room and you want it to feel smaller, you would pull the furniture out from that, or you would create two spaces.
Two spaces. Always keep like an intimate, and like here, obviously the fireplace is a focal point, but you're keeping an intimate conversation area. And the room actually, you've got all the like additional floor space all around it. So the room actually does feel bigger, right? Oh yeah, and by the way, with angles, keep all your angles the same. There's like people like me that walk into a place that can't take care of the different angles. You gotta keep them all the
Coach this way,
same.
coach that way.
Yeah, 90-degree angles.
Yeah.
So, so this is something that works a lot. You all have this natural inclination to square up a table to the wall. But when you turn it on an angle, in this case, you want to go right out to the deck. It's just easy traffic flow out to the deck. You're not worried about walking around a table, getting your hips hit or whatever, right? It's just an easy flow. Yeah, and oftentimes the room feels bigger because you're seeing more floor space, right? But yeah, there are some rooms where it won't work, but most times it's amazing. Just it shifts the energy of the whole room. I'm not like a feng shui expert by any stretch, but wouldn't believe how just changing one or two pieces of furniture will change the energy of a room. You know yourself, like I said, walk into a room where the sofa's lined up across the entranceway, and it feels like you're walking into a wall, and you're not welcome. Right? These are all stuff. It's just frivolous, but it all works together and actually does give you, you know.
But if they don't have money to do a lot of projects and to do a lot of upgrades, doing this and just using what they have and clearing out all the clutter, it's like walking into a different house.
Exactly.
And it presents so differently and the photos show so differently.
Yeah.
Like that top picture, I would just flip through that listing so fast and it wouldn't even be on our short list.
That's right.
Like you
Right,
just,
it just-
like feeling it right now, like walking to barbecue top photo feels like a pain.
Yeah.
And in the bottom one, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is all using the same stuff. I mean, it just so happened, they changed out the light fixture. But I mean, even if you didn't have the funds to do that, you didn't have to change out the light fixture. I mean, painting that one wall, it's just cheap.
Yeah, the flooring's all the same, the heating system's all the same.
Everything's
the
the
windows
same.
are all the same.
Yeah, there was virtually no money invested, just changing up, clearing out, painting one wall. So this is an example. This is from that waterfront house. The room was purposely left plain so that the view became the focal point of the room. Okay? I mean, the top. This literally was a house that was on the market for 5 months. And when I went in, it was 2 weeks before Christmas. And we did the work. First viewing in January, they got an offer because of just these changes. And there wasn't a lot of money spent, just paint, furniture placement, that's it.
Decluttering.
Decluttering, paint, furniture arrangement. Like they didn't do any.
No idea there's a water view.
Right. Curtains, if you don't need them for privacy, this is like another down the slides a bit, but if you don't need them for privacy, you get rid of them because you're selling the window, not the curtains. And it also, of course, the benefit is it's brighter. In this case, you're seeing the point of the whole price point, to be honest. But yeah, get rid of them. Anyway, what few little things here that's at play is the mirror being placed at 90 degrees of a window will reflect light into a room, so it's even brighter. The throw there at the end of the bed, they didn't have any white bedding, right? So, like, oh, by the way, when it comes to bedding, I would recommend lighter colors because then it doesn't
Take focus.
take the focus away from the room. It just kind of like goes away. But in this case, they didn't have one. So I took advantage of what they had and I angled it to direct your eye to the window. Right? Plain, it was just another bedroom. So what? So then you take advantage of just those things. But
Does it?
it does. That's merchandising, right? But the staging. It's literally manipulating people through photos, but also the experience of walking through a house, right? This was, oddly enough, this was a unique house where they had 5 bedrooms upstairs. So this kid didn't want to move, not having it. And so he didn't want to have anything done with his room. So I got him involved in the whole process. So by the time that we were done, he was ready to move to New Brunswick. And so what we did was we worked together on taking this stuff down and putting it all in storage under his bed. So it was all, he
Still had it.
yeah, it's all his stuff. Professional skater. But anyway, simple, keep her simple. And yeah, storage under, another trick, storage under the bed, so you have those last minute viewings, just throw and go. So this literally is the same room where one looks very small and you can't imagine your big bulky furniture fitting. So I would recommend never ever leaving a room empty, just because your eye has nowhere to rest, but it's really hard to determine scale of a room without something in it. You know, even if you don't have any furnishings, just throw a chair. Just, you know, yeah, okay, you're weirded out, you're looking in there going, oh, what's that all about? But you're still getting the point that you can really get an idea of scale of the room, right?
Yeah.
Start imagining things in it. Lighten up, this is, you know, nothing new to us. All light bulbs should, like, anytime there's an opportunity to turn on a light, turn it on, right? Get your brightest wattage out. Energy efficiency is #1 seller right now. So if you have LEDs everywhere, that's great. Get the highest wattage you can. Make sure it's a warm light, not the white light. But even if it's incandescent, put in the highest wattage you can put in. So here's a little trick. I took off all the screens in the room. Took off the curtains because you didn't need it because there's no, you know, privacy wasn't an issue here. As soon as you walked in your room, you saw the whole point there, right? The view. I did paint the one wall there white. They had their bed set up so that was the headboard. They had a wall right in the middle of the room. It was weird.
The stairs coming up?
Nope, that's just one wide open, like it was a big room, but they had that wall there so that it became like the bed is on the other side, so that when you wake up in the morning, that's your view, right? So, but when you walked in, it was so dark and dingy, and like off to the right was where it was, space for dressers and all of that stuff, right? Everything was over on like the other side, but that was as soon as you walked into that wall. It was just strange, but true. Yeah. So this is, believe it or not, this is my first staging game. And so one of the main points in this room was literally the drapes. Like Dad taking down the border, but just taking the drapes down made a huge impact. Mm. And if you are going to have drapes in a room, make sure that the rod is like lengthened enough so that when the drapes are open, it exposes the whole window. Right? And it's make them light colored so that they're not darkening. Clear out the clutter. So when you actually look into it, like, that's obvious to us, right? But you didn't even notice that there was, like in the top photo, you didn't even know there was a sink in the
Yeah,
in the counter.
For a very least, you can see the top.
Yeah. But literally, this house, we didn't do anything other than staging. Finish your projects. So this was a bathroom that obviously finished. So, these are. So, how do you guys feel about scents?
I personally like a scent, but when the coffee and the cookies are left out, personally I don't see anybody who takes them. They live in such a scaredy cat world. Like I've had people say, no, I don't want to take one. It's like I don't know how they're made.
Oh, see, I've never experienced that. I've experienced where we walk in and, oh my God, chocolate chip cookies! And they smelled so good. And we literally sat around and we ate cookies. Mm-hmm. And it added to the whole experience, right? The longer you can get somebody to stay in a house, the better, right? But you do need to associate the smell with the sight, and smell need to work together. Otherwise, you're setting up a red flag. What are you trying to hide? Right? So like if you're going to have the smell of coffee, like during the winter, it's nice to smell coffee, right? It just feels warmer, more welcoming, but at least brew some coffee before you leave and just leave it in the, off, but just leave it on the burner or in the coffee, whatever situation you're going. But sight and smell should be the same. But there are some people that believe that smell is important, so they'll do put plugins or something. That's just toxic. A lot of people are allergic to that stuff, right? And it also sends out the message that they're trying to hide something, especially in a basement, right? The smell of mold, mildew, or whatever have.
But I remember though when Aaron and I viewed our place way back, we did it twice. And the old lady she left the burner on simmer, had just a little pot of apple cider with cinnamon sticks in it.
Yeah, those are awesome. It
was huge.
Especially at Christmas.
Yeah, I've gotten people to do that. There's also somebody that I sold in the last couple of years, and she has a lot of health issues. She had to make her own bone broth, which I don't know if you've ever smelled that in a house.
Yeah.
It's got a very
already got in the face.
Very distinct smell. So I said, okay, we got to work with some essential oils or something here, because she couldn't have no sense. So trying to find and working with that, because you can't ask her not to do what she needs to do for her health. So trying to work in those very strict guidelines, right, of what can work, what can she have, but trying to remove some of that smell.
Vanilla.
Yeah.
Orange. It was citrus.
Orange.
Citrus and grapefruit.
So
essential oil, and we just had it.
Oh.
Where did she put it? She put it in a couple of spots, around the bathroom, and then just kind of dotted it along the kitchen counter. It was amazing, and it just smelled fresh and clean when you walk. Now, this is a new one.
Awesome.
I walked into the house the other day, and they're getting ready to list in a couple of months, and I thought, oh my word, how do I have the conversation? We got to get the pot smell in here,
Oh, yes.
right? Like thinking, we get weed smell out of,
I went into a place just
Out of a
yesterday that
house.
smelled like weed.
yeah.
And I told the guys, this smells like weed. It may be legal now, but still, come on.
Yeah,
I know. It's very interesting conversations, because then it's, okay, so what's the best way to get rid of that smell?
Soap and water. That's like just as bad as nicotine, eh?
worse. Some smells like
Remind me to talk about
Oh,
how to
really
get rid
does.
of us, how to address,
Smells like BO, right? In
I
some
had-
ways, some of it
what does?
some.
weed.
Yeah.
I showed a place that they had it growing in the basement under lights, and just
Ugh. Stuff gets, the smell gets into the walls, eh?
Well, and the moisture, if you're doing it in
Moisture.
your basement.
Yeah.
it's huge.
So then, I'm just remembering now, I was on a conversation on Facebook about smokehouses, and I recently listed a house. I was worried about it sitting on the market forever. It was just last year, and it was like in Kingswood, which is a high turnover, right? Sell. This was a smokehouse, and you smelled it as soon as you open up the screen door. You got this waft of smell, awful, and I was so worried about, ooh, should I take this listing? But I was really lucky that the guy acknowledged that, yeah, okay, I'll stop smoking in the house now, right? Because I said, you've got to stop, right? You want to sell, you have to stop smoking in this house. And he was very open to fixing it, which was lucky, because some people don't even smell it.
Yeah.
No,
So he did, he invested the $6,000 it cost to ship in bin primer.
Yeah. I was
And
gonna say, if you
that
get the right
stuff
primer,
is
then it just seals it right into the wall.
sealed it. But yeah, here's a place though that got forgotten. We hired a professional cleaner to go in and wash all the fixtures, like wash everything with TSP, cupboard doors, everything that couldn't be painted was washed with TSP. But it was the screens that they forgot, and I was like, couldn't figure out how the hell is that smell still here.
Well, in the furniture.
Well, no, he was completely empty. I put in furniture. I staged it with furniture, but nothing. Yeah, anything with fabric has the smell of nicotine in it, right? But yeah, I have to take cleaner to around all the screens and the framework of the door, the framing of the windows,
Huh.
like where the screens are. Literally,
Where
it's
it gets
everywhere.
trapped.
But didn't smell like smoke at all. And I've had furniture in a house after it's been done by other methods. A month later, there's nicotine seeped through the paint and got into the smell of the wood, my furniture, and I had to throw it out. It like a year after, still smell the smoke. It was gross. So anyway, there's a tip. Bin. They have some really good stuff, but you have to ship it in.
client left some coffee. No one came, and I ate too many coffees.
Yes.
Do you know what they did that for every viewing?
Oh.
Every viewing that we had,
They
she
had cookies.
cookies. She'd go down to the bakery. She had a fresh pot of coffee. She'd leave everything like just sweet couple.
See,
Sweet,
that's
yeah.
one of those people that the
Yeah.
smell is the thing to go. But yeah, at least you have a visual with the smell.
Well, and they had 3 dogs, and you would never know in the
Ah.
house.
Yeah, no,
Walk in.
I've seen popcorn.
So these are just little things that you can do. Viewings oftentimes causes stress for a lot of homeowners, and putting pretty boxes around the house, using them as accessories, but having them empty for those throw and go times.
It's a good
There's
idea.
you want people to go into cupboards and closets, so don't throw a bunch of stuff in there. You can get all of these great storage bins that fit under your bed. So keep them empty under all your beds. Nobody looks under beds, but they'll look out like closets. So you just have nice, pretty boxes around, for paperwork and pens, whatever, just junk. Okay, maybe it's just my counter. Anyway, just have the opportunity to just throw and go. That's just that. So some people just don't know how to put like accessories together. Don't do even numbers and don't do even heights. So 3s and 5s, various heights, it creates interest, and that's the trick. Decorating trade right there. Same thing with the bookcase. So if you're going to keep the bookcase in the house, hopefully it's white or light colored. Keep it light. You keep colors similar. Like if you're going to pack away some stuff, pack away all the dark looking books, or just interesting. Put books like various ways, like some are standing, some are laying flat, throwing accessories to keep it interesting. So these are just a few things. This is something that a lot of people don't really, I don't know why I took the slide out for the hallway. This keep everything below 4 feet. There was a place I did where they had the hallway full of photos. Of course, take photos down, right? But they wanted to put up, some wall hanging, whatever, dark framed. But what happens is this is true with everything. If you're going to stage a house, prefer anything above 4 feet, either light color or not there at all, because that's where a room will start to close in. Especially in a hallway, if you put anything that's dark framed in a hallway, it will bring the hallway will feel closed in. So make a room feel bigger, take everything off the walls, and be strategic as to what you put up. Again, with the dark and the light colors, balancing a room. That's just as soon as you walk in the room, that's where your eye goes. So when evaluating advice on what to give for clients and their house is like full of stuff, just stand at the doorway where a buyer would naturally standing and just look around and say, okay, all your heavy weighted stuff is over here. What if we were to, and then just look at how you can change things around so that the weight of various things are around from the point where they're walking in. Even if they, you have to walk through. And so it doesn't matter. It's just the first impression of that space is to keep it balanced. I already talked about the angle of a fireplace, focal point. Every room should have a focal point. Hopefully there is something that's staying with the house that is the focal point, like the fireplace or maybe the view or, I don't know, staircase. Sometimes the staircase is a focal point, for the entrance. Pets they need to go. Like, you just, like for viewings, just take them out. Some people love their pets so much and they're friendly. Doesn't matter, right? It really doesn't. No, especially if you got ones that say, don't let the cat out. You're like petrified the entire time walking in and then walking out. Yeah. You're scared. And those little, the cats get, and then you're like late for your next viewing because you're chasing a cat. But have you done that?
Yep.
Fun, hey?
It did. It ran out, and then I went back to the house to get cat treats, and then the other cat escaped. So then
Did the buyers buy the house?
They did. And they were in the woods helping me look for the cats. Yeah.
Do they have cats?
No. I hate animals.
Really? And they bought the house?
Yeah.
See, that contradicts everything that
And it was disgusting. It was dirty.
really.
We did get it for big people. Yeah. But I had to call the agent and say, look, the cat's gone. No, just escaped.
Yeah.
I don't know if they won't come. So then what do you do at that point? Just talking to the
Not gonna
other
stay in here all day.
agent. Well, it was getting into too.
Wow.
Or
I
hopefully the
told, I
cats.
have that, she doesn't want to take the dog for showings. So it's like 100 dogs.
Oh,
That will terrify some people,
I
though.
said,
Yeah.
I said, so we're basically to the point where I have to be there for daytime showings. So I can take him, and he's not leash trained, put a leash on him.
oh, wow.
So I gotta have him outside.
Recently had a viewing where we heard dog barking behind the door. We didn't go in because it sounded like a big, scary dog.
Yeah,
And allergies, you just don't know who's got allergies to what.
I mean, that's kind of, I see that one as a difference. Even if they're dog there, like somebody with
Yeah.
a dog allergy is still gonna be affected, although it's not as bad.
But even psychologically too,
Yeah.
you think, oh, dog, I'm watching him. But if there's no dog there barking, you just go in.
Yeah.
Right? At least you got some kind of chance. The garage. You know what? Most garages, as we know, are just glorified sheds. But if it's possible to leave a car in the garage, it will demonstrate that it's usable. A lot of people like to think that they want a garage, right? They'll disqualify a house because it doesn't have a garage. Whether or not they'll use it is quite a different
Right.
story. But if it's possible to leave a car in the garage, at least that's part of the staging, is part of that, right? The reason why I suggest keeping the driveway clear is twofold. First of all, when you drive up to a house and there's a car in the driveway, you don't know if they're still home.
Yeah.
Or you're going to intrude on somebody right away.
Yeah.
You've got this experience. But also, you want people to drive into the driveway because you want them to feel like they're driving home. Right? It's just one more part of the whole experience. So all of these things work together to create a really great experience. And a lot of these suggestions didn't cost money, right? But if you want to maximize the money you get out, then yeah, invest in various things to appeal to different target markets.
When you, well, I mean, you have a different as do the staging, but like, so for instance, if somebody's questioning about having a staging consultation, do you pay for that? Or just
I do. But
before
for
but
two
after you
reasons.
have that paper signed.
Right. But for two reasons. Then I'm not the bad guy. Right. Then it's separated for me. And then as well, it saves a lot of conversation about placements, removing things, or do we do this or do we not, or what do we do? I can help with the smaller things and with the reminders for viewings or for photos, but for the bigger items or for the whole, okay, we're going to stage the house, which mostly is what a lot of them are, then I do. Then I pay for someone to come in for 2 hours. Yeah. And then if they want to pay for additional outside of that, then they have the option to.
Yeah.
But typically, then it's covered. And then it shows up great in the pictures, right? The pictures are so different. There's
A lot of these little tips, like if you go to a house an hour before the photographer gets there, you just ask if you could, do you mind if I just move a few things for the photo? Right? You're not offending, you're just saying the photographer is going to be coming from this angle and it would look better in photos, just to tweak it a bit. So yeah, you don't need to bring in a professional to know.
Yeah.
Look at everything. Good God, the toilet seat down.
yeah. Well, and some houses you go into and you think you don't need anybody, right? This
No.
is amazing. Like I have one that's coming on in Dartmouth on Friday. It was amazing. It was beautiful, and they were able to do it themselves, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
So some people just have a natural eye for it, but I think if you don't have an eye for it, if you have a young family, if you have been in your house for years, it's really hard in some of those situations for people to separate themselves from the house or to actually carve out the time to do it. So it's hard. And it's hard conversation sometimes to have
It
with
can
people.
be very difficult, but that's why you blame the target market. That's what I do. You know,
Yeah.
oh, look, you know what? I really love this. This is beautiful. Oh my gosh, where did you get this? And you go into the conversation and go, wow. You know what though? This house is targeting to the younger crowd,
Yeah.
and they'll be influenced by this not in the way they want. Right? And so they're like a light bulb goes on. And you blame it on the millennial, like everybody does.
Poor millennials.
I'm gonna be-
I'm sorry, I have to go.
too, yeah.